Alright, so today we got this little cedar footstool that I made. This is using the tenon joint kits. Very expensive setup, but it works really well. I usually don't use the small stuff unless I absolutely have to. I usually like using the biggest one I have for any kind of legs, but for a footstool this should be fine, as long as nobody sits on it with great force. But anyways, this is rough cut. I cut it down the middle with a chainsaw, so it's very rough, and then I glued it in with wood glue, and then I sanded this side with a random orbital sander just to show you how pretty it can be. And this is dry. There's no oil on it or anything. If I put oil on it, it would really show the depth of it a lot better, and you'd see some roundedness of the depth right here where it plays on light. So this cedar was, if it's not completely dry, it was fairly dry before I even messed with it. I knocked the big knots off or softened them up, and then I rounded off the bottom. It's not finished yet, but I just wanted to show you all a before and after rough cut with a chainsaw versus just a little time sanding with the random orbital. And then I'll show y'all the big bench I've got over here currently. Here's the other half of that log that I rough cut. You can see a little bit of the color because it's been wet. It is a pretty straight cut. A lot better than what I did with the Alaskan sawmill that I tried using. Alright, so this one, you can see, I don't know if you can see it through this camera, but you can see the depth a little better, and you can see the play of light a little better, because I did just coat it with one coat of olive oil. I had to resand it because a cat decided to sharpen its claws on it and scratched it all up. I was very unhappy with that. This is, I think, some type of cedar, non-aromatic cedar or something, or some kind of pine, I'm not sure. Some kind of evergreen that I don't know the name of it. I took it down from the neighbor's yard along with 8 other trees. But I also have a couple more chunks of cedar over here that I can make benches and whatnot off of. There's a smaller piece, here's a bigger piece. And here's a piece I cut a while back that I just haven't used yet. I'll show y'all the tenon cutters I use and the forstner bits that I use. So here's some legs that I've already cut out. This is the big cut legs, and these are all cedar that I've kept around specifically for this use. I cut all those to 18 inches. That reminds me, I need to try kinkering that up again and go weed eat around my mailbox. So here's the big mamma jammer. These make short work of anything about that big or smaller, as long as you got a good drill. And here's the small joker. I haven't used this one too much, but it's whatever. This is a Lumberjack brand TTRO 750 AA. This is a Lumberjack brand TTR 1500 AC. So this is a speed bore 3/4 inch. Okay, so that's a 3/4 inch tenon cutter. Speed bore 3/4 inch. These work great with impacts. That was a cheaper bit. It's really hard to handle due to how it works. It's very difficult to pull it out after you've used it. I like to dig down about half the depth that I'm going to or less, and then clear out the shavings. That way it's not too difficult to pull back through afterwards. And then I'll show you all the bigger forstner bit. This is on my Craftsman V20 drill with a 9 amp hour battery. This battery is worth everything. It's on 2 bars, and I've used it for all kind of crazy stuff without charging it yet. Now this is a German made Forstner bit. This bit alone was, I think, like $50. Bormax 2.0 FAMAG Germany, 1.5 inch. So this is a very high-end specialty bit, and it works beautifully. I had to use it in the low gear because it wasn't working too great on high gear. But anywho, so I'll probably put some more legs and some things, finish up sanding on that little footrest, and I'll probably slap one coat of, no, I'll leave that bare because it's cedar and I'd rather it smell good. Yeah, I'll probably finish sanding on that footrest and might make another one, because there's the other half of that one slab. Now the method that I use to cut the fucking slabs, or the half logs, whatever you want to call it, is you try to find the center of the widest part, or whichever part's going to lay the best, and then with the tip of the chainsaw you score it along a very straight line. You can freehand it, or you can use a board or something to scribe where the straight line should be. I've seen some people screw in a 2x4 just to use as a template first hand to score it, or whatever you're going to do, paint a line, whatever, and then you can follow it up with the tip. But to cut a really straight slab, you'll use just the tip and go down like a small increment at a time, straight up and down, straight up and down, straight up and down, straight up and down, and then go down in depth a little more each time. And you just got to try to keep it straight as possible, and that will usually end up with a very straight log. The more time you put into it, the less you take off in each run, the straighter you can hold it, the better the end result will be. But in my limited experience using a chainsaw for cutting wood freehand, that's the best method I've come up with. I learned that off of YouTube. Same with everything else I know. Anywho, I guess I'll see y'all later. Adios.